Okay, I'm just recording. So we have a concept called in-memory BI tool. Okay, so why do we call it as an in-memory tool is, so it has the capabilities to store the data in RAM. Okay, so storing the data in RAM. So to install Tableau desktop in your PC, you need to have 8 GB of RAM, minimum 8 GB of RAM you need to have. Until unless you have 8 GB of RAM, it will not work. If you have very less RAM, then it will be slow. If you are having 4 GB or 2 GB RAM in your computer, it will be very slow. But if you have 8 GB RAM, it works. Why? Because the data will get stored in RAM. Let's say if you see this information which is there, if you are pulling this data from an Excel or from an Tableau SQL server or Oracle server, which is connected to a different computer, so every time it will not hit that server to get the data. So this information, these 10,000 records or millions of records which is coming from SQL server will get stored in your RAM. Okay, so that data will get stored in your RAM. So that's why we call it as an in-memory tool. So any reporting tool that uses in-memory concept, so which uses in-memory concept, that will be faster when compared to other tools. So why am I saying this is, so if I drag any column or if I drag any sales or quantity, so within seconds or within fraction of seconds, I can see those values in the worksheet. So it is not even taking some time. So in SQL, so if you write some query like select any column, select customer name from table name, sample superstore. Okay, so if you write this small query, okay, to render this data from millions of records, it will take some 5 seconds or 10 seconds to get this customer name details from this sample superstore. But Tableau will not take that much amount of time, even within small clicks. So you can see the data is coming up within seconds, within fraction of seconds, you can see the data is coming up. It's because it is storing the data in the RAM and it is not hitting that SQL server every time. So it will compress the data and store it in the RAM. So that's the reason it will be faster. And it does on-the-fly calculations. On-the-fly calculations. So I will show you one example of how on-the-fly calculations works. So let's say take sales. So this is the sales. So the total is 23,26,534. How this 23 lakhs is coming? So if you go to the data, it is a sum of all these records. It is adding up each and every row and it is giving you all this record summation. And now I want to see region and I also want to see profit. And now I have profit sum also. It's the same way we have got profit also. It is the sum of all the profit column values. Okay. So now I will write a calculation, simple calculation, which is profit margin. Okay, where I will divide sum of profit divided by sum of sales. So here I'm just doing a simple division, profit margin. And I'll convert this into percentage. Okay, so here you can see 12.56%. So normally if you do it in a calculator, so what happens? 292, 297 divided by 23, 26, 534. Okay, so you got this 12.56 from here. So if I do it in this calculator, this value is getting stored in this calculator. So even if you do it in Excel or something, this physical value will get stored. But I said on the fly calculation. So what on the fly calculation does is, so if I put region, it will still show me the percentage for each and every region. So now how it is calculating is profit margin. Okay, 12.56 value, it is not storing in this calculation. So it is whatever calculation we have done here. So we have done for sum of profit divided by sum of sales. It is not storing this 12.56. Even if I drop region, again what it is doing for central, what is the total? So it is taking for central, what is the sum of profit? 39,865 divided by 503,171 into 100. Okay, 7.92%. So on the fly, it is taking this central region value and sales of central region value, and it is dividing it. So that's how we can create on the fly calculations using Tableau. So that's about in-memory tool. And now we have what are dimensions and measures. So this is a fundamental concept for any database, SQL or Oracle. So now let's see dimensions and measures. So basically the names that you see, names or descriptive part, or you can say anything which you cannot do mathematical operation, which we cannot do mathematical operations. Okay, so examples for this is, you can say names, region, country, which are names. So which involves only the names, descriptive part. And you can say date is also a dimension. In measures, we have, by the name only, it mentions which are measurable. So those are called as measures, or where you can do mathematical operations. Basically, these are numbers, float, integers. So this is called as string. Okay, so which are measurable are called as measures. So examples for these are sales, profit, and here we can include employee ID also. Employee ID and postal code. Even these looks like numbers only. Let's say employee ID will be like 100, like this. If the employee ID is like this, so it looks like a number, but this is not a measure. Why? Because you can't add two different employee IDs. So I have one more person like this. So you can't add, or you can't do any mathematical operation for employee IDs. So that's why you need to consider this also a dimension. And we also have postal codes like this. Even this also looks like a number. And in this case also, adding this postal codes also doesn't make any sense. So these are also considered as a dimension. So what is the condition that we have? Where we cannot do mathematical operation, those are also considered as dimensions. And which can be measurable are considered as measures. Profit, sales, all this considered as measures. So that's about the fundamental funda of this dimension and measures. So this is mostly useful. So if you go to Tableau, so we have prepared this thing. Okay. So Chandana, can you tell me what is name? Is it a dimension or is it a measure? Yeah. Divya, can you tell me whether fees is a dimension or a measure? Yeah, it's a measure. Okay, so whichever contains values in it, so those will be considered as measures, where you can do aggregation functions like sum, min, max, and all. So all those will be considered as a measure. Okay, so not only mathematical operations, where we can do this sum, min, max, aggregation functions. So those are also considered as measures. This one, I will show you that in Tableau. So let me connect to that Excel file. So Tableau automatically identifies what are measures and what are dimensions. Excuse me. Okay, so string values or the descriptive part will be shown with an ABC icon. So the names you see, so with this you can identify it's a dimension. And for fees, you can see the number symbol. Okay, so that means it is considering it as a measure. So with these symbols, we can identify which is a measure or which is a dimension. So that is about dimension and measure. Now let's go to one more fundamental operation, which is OLTP and OLAP. Okay, so OLTP and OLAP. So OLTP is nothing but online transaction processing, and OLAP is nothing but online online analytical processing. Analytical processing. Okay. So, so the transaction. So wherever transaction happens, so we get the data from wherever this transaction happens. So examples are like, so if we go to Superstore, so when you purchase any product, if you purchase some 10 products, and if you go to that salesperson, so you will make an entry for those 10 products which you bought. Okay. And so all those details will be stored. And what is the, let's say they will store information like product name and cost of that product. Okay. And also they will have date, all this information will, they will store. So this is called as online transaction processing. So this data is called as OLTP. So whatever the data that they are storing in their location, in their business location, so this is called as a online transaction processing, where frequent updates takes place. So where you insert data, or delete data, or you modify the data. So all these frequent updates takes place in this OLTP. Let's say you modified something in the superstore, like you bought something and you want to return some product. So then they will make that entry again, and they will modify the entries which are already there. So they can make those changes. So not only superstore, we have e-commerce websites and ATM machines. So e-commerce websites, meaning we have Flipkart and Amazon. Okay, so when you make a purchase or when you buy something in Flipkart or Amazon, so they will make an entry. So they will write the product name, and they will have your name, phone number. So all these details will be there. So product name, phone number, they will store. And so they will make this entry. So all this data which is getting stored in their website is called as OLTP, where this transactions are getting stored. And even in the ATM machine, so if you do a transaction like 10,000, you have withdrawn 10,000 rupees. So there will be a record that will get stored from this account. From this account, 10,000 rupees got debited. So they will store this record. So there will be an entry that is made in the in their database, in their ATM machine database. So all this information will store in OLTP. Okay, whatever information which is coming from ATM machine or e-commerce website or from the superstores, all those information will be stored in OLTP temporarily. Temporarily for daily or weekly. Okay. So what is the source for OLTP? Source for OLTP are users. So we are the ones who are giving the data to the OLTP. How we are giving the data? By making any purchase from Flipkart or Amazon, or if you are buying something from Superstore. So then they will. So we are by us, we are making the entry in this Superstore by making some purchases and all. So if you buy some phone from the Flipkart or Amazon, so then there will be an entry that is made in the database, and that will be stored in OLTP for temporarily, for daily or weekly. Okay, so that is the source. So we are the source for OLTP. And once this data is stored, and weekly data will be moved to OLAP. Okay, OLAP maintains the data or maintains a historical data. Okay, so not only from one machine, so there are multiple superstores. Let's say if you take more superstore or Vijeta superstore, there are multiple branches. So they will store from each and every branch. They will store this information for weekly or daily, and they will send it to one. They will assemble every data into one particular location that is called OLAP. So all this historical information will be stored in OLAP. And what is the source for OLAP? OLTP is the source for OLAP. So we are storing this OLTP information in OLAP. So that way it is storing the historical information. And if you see the data of this one, sample superstore, and we have the information of past 4 years. We have past 4 years data. That's because we are getting all the weekly and daily data from OLTP, and that we are storing in sample superstore. So OLAP is the one which we connect to make analytical graphs and charts. And OLTP maintains the current information, and OLAP maintains the historical information. So we'll just see in the PPT. So OLTP is a place where frequent inserts and update takes place as we go to Superstore or any ATM machine. So we are the ones who make these updates and all. And it is the place where frequent data retrieval takes place. So weekly or daily, the data we are taking it from OLTP to OLAP. So any user can interact with OLTP. So even you can interact with OLTP by making any purchase from e-commerce websites, or if you go to a superstore, or if you go to a ATM machine. So by making some transaction, that records are getting entered in database. And OLAP, only few people will have access, like CEOs or the executives. So let's say if I prepare something in Tableau desktop, so the visualization, so who will analyze this visualization? Only the business persons. So I will show it to the business persons and let them know how business is performing. And based on that, they will take actions on their business. So OLTP is mainly used for business purposes, like in Superstore, they maintain the data. So it is mainly to analyze the data. So OLAP is to analyze the data. So basically we are analyzing the data. So 10,000 records. So by seeing this 10,000 records, it's very hard to understand and analyze. So that's the reason I'm creating this visualization to understand the data. So yeah, OLTPs will have less number of data. Why? Because it stores only temporary data for one weekly or daily. And those data is going and stored in OLAP, and OLAP is storing the historical information. It will have more number of data when compared to OLTP. So that's about OLTP and OLAP. So with that, we have completed two fundamental concepts and introduction of Tableau. So I'll just take a pause. If you have any questions, you can ask. Okay. Chandana, can you tell me the difference between dimension and measure? Yeah, perfect. Okay. Divya, can you tell me the difference between OLTP and OLAP? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Rakib, can you tell me one more example of OLTP and OLAP? Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Yeah. So to do some analysis, we use OLAP data. To store the data from businesses around all, we'll use OLTP, which is online transaction processing. Yeah, perfect. Prashant, can you tell me what is the concept of in-memory tool? Okay. So the main usage of in-memory is it uses RAM instead of pulling data from source every time. So it stores the data in our RAM so that it is faster when compared to other tools. Yeah, so that's about today's session. So today's session is mostly about theoretical of Tableau, like how how and why Tableau is very important and what all Tableau can do. So from coming sessions, I will let you know how to use this Tableau tool and whatever charts that I have prepared. So I will help you understand each and every steps on how to do this chart. Okay, and I will provide steps to create these charts and all, so that it will be easier for you to create this in your desktop. Okay, so I will send you the link to install Tableau desktop in your PC. So have this installed in your PC, and we will practice this every day. And I will give you assignments, and you need to publish it to the Tableau public. So get the credentials of Tableau public. I'll just show you. So go to Tableau public. Go to Tableau public, and so it's already signed in. I'll just do a sign out. Okay. So try to sign in and create an account here. Okay. Give some basic details and get your username and password. So once this password is ready, you can go to server and just say sign in. So once you sign in, then you can publish it to the Tableau public. Okay, once it is published, you can share this link. Okay, yeah. So you can share this link so that I can view your work. And if there are, I will verify your dashboards and I can tell you if there are any changes that you need to do. Okay. Any questions or can we wrap up the session? Sorry, can you repeat? Okay. Mm-hmm. All sheets you can see. You can see all sheets, no? Yeah. Okay. So that's about today's session. We'll continue in tomorrow's session with the Tableau session too. Thank you all for joining.